The journey from ambition to meaning is the journey every soul eventually feels called to take, whether we acknowledge it early in life or only after ambition has exhausted us. Ambition is not wrong. In many ways, it is the first language we learn in this world. It teaches us how to strive, to reach, to want, to push forward with intensity. But there comes a moment, often in the quiet spaces between accomplishments, where something unseen begins to whisper that there is more. It is subtle, almost invisible, a nudge you cannot define through logic, a tug you cannot trace to any physical source. Yet it is real enough to stir your heart in ways no success ever has. This whisper is the beginning of meaning. We live in a world that applauds ambition loudly, yet seldom recognizes the quiet magnitude of meaning. Ambition asks, what can I take? What can I acquire? What can I prove? Meaning asks, what can I give? What can I understand? What can I become? The two exist on different frequency bands, and once you begin tuning to the higher one, the lower one no longer feels like home. Something within starts to shift. Your values, your motivations, your interpretations of what truly matters. And while the outward circumstances of your life may not immediately change, the inner climate begins its transformation. You start noticing things you overlooked before. The depth of a moment, the sacredness of a breath, the subtle presence of the invisible. The invisible is not a void. It is the essence from which everything visible emerges. The more you pay attention to it, the more you realize how much of life is orchestrated by forces you cannot see with your eyes but can unmistakably feel with your spirit. You begin sensing that coincidences are not accidents, but signposts. That intuition is not imagination, but guidance. That inspiration is not random, but communication from a higher dimension of your own being. When ambition rules, you dismiss these moments as chance. When meaning dawns, you recognize them as the language of the invisible. This shift from ambition to meaning is not a single dramatic leap, but a gradual awakening. One morning you realize you are no longer driven by the applause you once craved. You find yourself uninterested in competing with anyone, including your own past self. You begin to understand that true growth is not measured in achievements, but in alignment. And alignment comes from listening to something deeper than desire. It comes from honoring the invisible currents of purpose that move through your life even when you pretend not to notice them. In ambition, you push. In meaning, you allow. In ambition, you control. In meaning, you trust. In ambition, you chase outcomes. In meaning, outcomes come to you because they are drawn to your state of being. This is the invisible law that governs all manifestations, and yet it remains hidden from those who believe only in what they can see. But when you begin living from meaning, you feel it unfolding in ways that defy logic yet align perfectly with truth. The invisible begins with intention, not the intention of ambition, which is often tangled with fear or ego, but the intention born from stillness. You start to ask different questions. Not how can I get more, but how can I serve more deeply? Not what will people think of me, but what does my soul require of me? These questions are not asked by the mind, but by the heart. And the heart, unlike the mind, has direct access to the invisible realm where meaning resides. As you move into this new way of being, the world around you may not understand. People who once related to your ambition may feel confused by your shift toward meaning. They might ask why you no longer chase the same markers of success, why you are no longer stressed by the things that once consumed you, why you seem more peaceful even in the midst of uncertainty, and you may not have the words to explain it. The invisible cannot be explained, it can only be experienced. Those who witness your transformation will eventually feel its impact because meaning radiates. It influences not only your life, but every life it touches. There is a point in the journey where you begin to sense an invisible presence guiding you, a presence that is not outside of you but within you. It is the part of you that existed before ambition, before fear, before the identity you built to survive in a world focused on achievement. This inner presence speaks in silence. It directs without force. It leads without demanding obedience. When you follow it, you discover that life begins to unfold with an effortless grace, as though the universe itself is participating in your evolution. Ambition often leads to exhaustion because it relies on the finite energy of the ego. Meaning leads to expansion because it draws from the infinite energy of spirit. When you shift from ambition to meaning, you no longer question your worth because you feel connected to a source that is beyond question. You no longer fear losing what you have because you understand that nothing essential can ever be taken from you. You no longer seek validation because you recognize your life as a unique expression of the invisible intelligence that animates all things. This intelligence is not limited by form. It does not speak in human language, yet it communicates constantly. It nudges you through intuition. It inspires you through desire that feels different from ambition, softer, purer, detached from outcome. It comforts you in moments when logic fails. It whispers through synchronicities that appear at just the right time, carrying messages that bypass the intellect and go directly to the soul. To embrace meaning is to learn how to listen to this invisible guidance system. The shift also brings an undeniable awareness that everything you have ever experienced was preparing you for something deeper. Even the moments of struggle, disappointment, or loss were not detours, but essential steps in the unfolding of meaning. Ambition resists difficulty. It sees it as an obstacle to progress. Meaning embraces difficulty as a teacher, recognizing that every challenge holds a gift, every setback contains direction, every closed door redirects you to a more aligned path. When you live from meaning, nothing is wasted because everything contributes to your awakening. The invisible realm is not separate from daily life. It is interwoven with every moment. You begin to sense it when you pause long enough to notice the beauty in the ordinary. The way light moves across a wall, the way someone's laughter carries warmth, the way your breath enters and leaves your body without being asked. These small moments become gateways into presence, and presence is the doorway to meaning. The more present you are, the more connected you feel to the invisible fabric that holds all things together. As ambition fades, a deep inner peace emerges, a peace not based on circumstances, but on connection. You feel connected to yourself, to others, to the universe, to a purpose that does not need words. You begin to understand that meaning is not something you create, it is something you uncover. It was always there, waiting behind the noise of ambition, ready to guide you once you became quiet enough to hear it. This peace is not passive. It energizes you in ways ambition never could. You begin acting not out of pressure but out of inspiration. Instead of forcing outcomes, you collaborate with the invisible forces that support your intentions. Instead of reacting to life, you respond with clarity, compassion, and presence. You realize that you are no longer living life, but life is living through you. This shift is subtle, but it transforms everything. The invisible becomes your compass. You trust it even when you cannot explain it. You follow the pull even when it defies logic. You allow life to unfold rather than demanding it follow your script. And as you do, you notice that the right people appear, the right opportunities emerge, the right timing reveals itself. This is the power of meaning. It aligns you with the rhythm of the universe. And slowly, you feel less like a separate individual striving for personal success, and more like a participant in something vast, intelligent, and sacred. You start sensing that you are being lived by a force that knows exactly what it's doing, even when you don't. You become a vessel for something invisible and powerful, something that expresses itself through your thoughts, your actions, your presence. And as you surrender to this force, your life becomes not a project to manage, but a miracle to witness. As this invisible force becomes more familiar, you begin noticing how much of your previous life was built around trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. You tried to control outcomes, timelines, people's perceptions, and even your own image in the world. All of this required immense effort, constant vigilance, and an underlying fear that without your tight grip, everything might fall apart. But the invisible realm teaches a different lesson, a lesson of surrender, of trust, of letting life move through you instead of pushing your way through life. And in this surrender, a surprising sense of strength emerges, one that ambition could never provide. You discover that the more you release control, the more aligned everything becomes. This alignment is not something the ego can understand. It operates from a different dimension, one in which effort is replaced with flow, resistance is replaced with acceptance, and force is replaced with intention. You begin to see that the invisible is always orchestrating the visible, forming patterns, connections, and opportunities that appear at precisely the right moment. And when you tune yourself to the frequency of meaning, these patterns become clearer, as if someone has turned up the contrast on the landscape of your life. Events that once seemed random now feel divinely timed, and people you meet unexpectedly carry messages or lessons that your soul needed at that exact moment. There comes a time in this journey where you realize that meaning is not something that arrives from the outside. It emerges from within, from a quiet place untouched by external noise. When you act from this place, your actions carry a different energy. They no longer stem from a desire to be seen or recognized, but from a sincere intention to express something true within you. The invisible becomes the source of your creativity, the well from which your inspiration flows. It gives birth to ideas, insights, and impulses that feel less like inventions and more like revelations. You begin to notice that your best moments, your most powerful creations arise not when you are trying the hardest, but when you are most open, most receptive, most connected to the unseen. As you continue this shift, ambition begins to feel like a chapter you've outgrown, not because it lacked value, but because it served its purpose. Ambition taught you discipline, focus, resilience, and commitment. It taught you how to take action, how to move, how to create momentum. But meaning teaches you how to align, how to listen, how to follow the invisible thread that guides your unfolding. You no longer need to force yourself into paths that drain you, because the invisible realm guides you toward paths that nourish you. You no longer need to chase validation because you feel a deeper validation coming from within, a validation that says you are already enough, already whole, already connected to something infinitely intelligent. In this new way of being, even your desires transform. They become less about acquisition and more about expression, less about what you can accumulate and more about what you can embody. You begin to desire peace over power, connection over competition, purpose over position. And these desires feel different. They are not frantic or urgent. They do not come with anxiety or restlessness. They come with clarity, serenity, and certainty. They feel like truths you are simply remembering. When meaning becomes your compass, you realize that the invisible part of you, the part that cannot be measured or weighed or proven, is actually the source of your greatest strength. It is the part that knows the way even when your mind is filled with doubt. It is the part that whispers, "Go here, trust this, wait now, move forward," even when logic disagrees. And when you begin trusting this inner guidance, you find yourself drawn toward experiences that elevate you, relationships that align with your truth, and opportunities that resonate with your soul. You begin to live with a new awareness, as though a veil has been lifted. You pay attention to signs, to synchronicities, to the subtle nudges that guide your steps. You start noticing how everything is connected. The people you encounter, the obstacles you face, the insights that arrive when you least expect them. Nothing feels accidental anymore. Everything feels intentional, purposeful, orchestrated by a wisdom that transcends your understanding. And the more you trust this wisdom, the more fluid your life becomes. Obstacles dissolve, delays reveal purpose, and even challenges transform into catalysts for growth. In this state, you realize that meaning is not a destination but a way of traveling. It is not a goal you reach but a consciousness you embody. It affects how you wake up in the morning, how you speak to others, how you interpret events, how you respond to life's uncertainties. You no longer rush through experiences but immerse yourself in them. You no longer cling to outcomes but allow them to unfold. You no longer feel alone because you sense the invisible presence guiding you with every breath. One of the most profound shifts in this journey is the realization that you are not separate from the invisible intelligence that creates worlds. You are an expression of it. When ambition governs, you see yourself as isolated, as someone who must make everything happen through effort and force. When meaning governs, you recognize that you are part of a vast tapestry of energy, consciousness, and intention. You are not an isolated creator, you are a conduit through which creation expresses itself. This realization brings a deep sense of humility and empowerment at the same time. Humility because you recognize the greatness of the invisible force working through you. Empowerment because you understand that this force is not separate from who you are. As this awareness deepens, something else begins to shift. You start valuing experiences over achievements. You start valuing presence over productivity. You start valuing authenticity over approval. These values create a new internal architecture, one that no longer collapses under pressure or crumbles under judgment. You find yourself becoming less reactive, less defensive, less concerned with how others perceive you. Instead, you become more grounded, more compassionate, more attuned to the invisible dimensions of every interaction. You begin to sense the energy behind people's words, the emotion beneath their behavior, the unseen stories shaping their actions. This deeper perception allows you to respond with empathy rather than resistance. Meaning also invites you to slow down, not to stop moving, but to move with awareness. You realize that rushing disconnects you from the invisible realm, while presence reconnects you to it. The more present you become, the more guidance you receive. The more present you become, the more aligned your actions feel. And in this alignment, you discover that life is not something happening to you, it is something happening through you, with you, and for you. This shift transforms your relationship with time. Instead of feeling pressured by it, you begin to trust its intelligence. You understand that everything unfolds at the perfect moment. Not a moment earlier, not a moment later. You stop forcing timing and begin flowing with it. You start recognizing that delays often protect you, that detours often direct you, and that pauses often prepare you. Time becomes a partner in your evolution, not an enemy you must outrun. As meaning deepens, your relationship with yourself also transforms. You become more forgiving of your past, more accepting of your imperfections, more understanding of your journey. You look back on the chapters of ambition with gratitude, recognizing how they shaped your character and taught you essential lessons. But you no longer cling to those chapters. You no longer define yourself by what you achieved or failed to achieve. You begin to define yourself by your alignment with truth, by your connection to the invisible, by your willingness to listen to the quiet voice within. Your inner dialogue softens. Instead of criticizing yourself, you begin encouraging yourself. Instead of doubting your path, you begin trusting your direction. Instead of fearing the unknown, you begin welcoming it. The unknown is no longer a threat, it is the birthplace of everything meaningful. And because you now trust the invisible, the unknown becomes a realm of possibility rather than a source of anxiety. This trust also affects your relationships. You begin attracting people whose presence feels aligned with your inner world. Conversations become more authentic, connections become deeper, and interactions become more meaningful. You find yourself no longer interested in superficial exchanges, but drawn to those who appreciate depth, intention, and truth. You begin forming relationships that nurture your growth, encourage your evolution, and resonate with your soul. And you also let go of relationships that no longer align with your state of meaning, not with anger or resistance, but with gratitude and peace. And through all of this, you begin noticing that the invisible is not only guiding you, but transforming you. It changes how you see yourself, how you see others, how you see the world. It opens your eyes to beauty you once overlooked, wisdom you once ignored, and synchronicities you once dismissed. It brings you into harmony with life, aligning your intention with the rhythm of the universe. It reveals to you that you are not here merely to achieve, but to awaken. Not merely to compete, but to contribute. Not merely to exist, but to evolve. As this inner transformation continues, you begin seeing that the world you once interpreted through the lens of ambition was merely a surface-level reflection of something far deeper. Beneath every experience, beneath every relationship, beneath every moment of joy or discomfort, there is an unseen layer, a field of energy, intention, and intelligence that quietly shapes the visible. The more you tune into this field, the more you recognize that what appears solid and fixed is actually fluid, responsive, and alive. You realize that your life has never been a random sequence of events, but an unfolding dialogue between your inner state and the invisible forces guiding you. This awareness changes how you move through life. You begin noticing the subtle shifts within you that once went ignored, the intuition that flickers like a candle flame, the sensation in your chest when something feels aligned or misaligned, the sudden knowing that arrives without logical explanation. Signals come from the invisible realm, from the deeper part of you that has always known the way. And as you honor these signals, they grow stronger, more pronounced, more reliable. They become the compass that ambition never could be. You start making choices from a place of inner guidance, rather than external pressure. Decisions that once required endless thinking and overthinking now arise naturally, as though they are choosing you, rather than you choosing them. You feel less compelled to justify your decisions to others, because the clarity you feel within is enough. You trust that when something feels right in the invisible realm, it will eventually reveal its purpose in the visible world. And even if others do not understand your choices in the moment, you know that understanding is not required for alignment. This shift from seeking external approval to listening to inner truth brings a profound sense of liberation. You no longer feel weighed down by expectations, your own or those of others. You no longer chase after roles or identities that do not reflect your authentic self. Instead, you begin shedding layers of fear, conditioning, and limitation that once confined you. You step into a new version of yourself, a version guided by the invisible, grounded in meaning, and aligned with your highest truth. In this state, life begins to feel like a continuous conversation with something greater than yourself. You speak through your intentions, and the universe responds through signs, synchronicities, and opportunities. You express your willingness to be guided, and guidance flows effortlessly. You surrender your need to control outcomes, and outcomes unfold with a grace you never experienced through ambition. You begin to trust that every unanswered question has an answer waiting in the invisible realm, and that every desire born from meaning carries its own pathway to fulfillment. One of the most remarkable aspects of this journey is how it changes your perception of challenges. When ambition dominated, challenges felt like obstacles blocking your path. They triggered frustration, fear, or resistance. But through the lens of meaning, challenges become invitations, opportunities to expand, to deepen, to evolve. You start to see that every challenge carries a message, every delay holds wisdom, and every disappointment redirects you to something more aligned with your soul's purpose. You no longer interpret difficulty as a sign that you are on the wrong path, but as confirmation that growth is occurring. This shift softens your relationship with uncertainty. Ambition seeks control because it fears the unknown, meaning embraces uncertainty, because it understands that the unknown is where the invisible works its magic. You begin to feel comfortable stepping into spaces where the outcome is not yet visible. You trust that the invisible realm already holds the answers, and that your task is simply to remain aligned with truth, present in the moment, and open to guidance. This openness becomes a powerful magnet for the experiences meant for you. As you lean into meaning, you also begin recognizing how much of life is shaped by your inner state. You become aware of the energy you bring into every situation, how your thoughts influence your perception, how your emotions shape your vibration, how your beliefs act as filters for what you attract or repel. You begin to see that the invisible part of you is constantly interacting with the invisible dimension of the world, creating outcomes that match your inner frequency. And with this awareness comes responsibility, not the heavy responsibility of ambition, but the empowering responsibility of meaning. You realize that if you want different experiences, you must cultivate a different inner state. If you want peace, you must embody peace. If you want clarity, you must create space within to hear it. If you want abundance, you must recognize the infinite abundance already within you. The invisible realm does not respond to wishful thinking, it responds to alignment. And alignment is a state of being, not a set of actions. It is the inner harmony that arises when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions resonate with truth. This understanding deepens your practice of presence. You begin to appreciate the sacredness of each moment, the gentle rhythm of your breath, the subtle sensations in your body, the quiet thoughts passing through your mind. You start noticing the invisible intelligence operating within even the smallest details of life. A conversation that brings unexpected insight, a song that stirs emotion, a chance encounter that shifts your direction. All of these moments become alive with meaning. You begin to feel that life is speaking to you constantly, and you learn to listen with your entire being. As your sensitivity to the invisible grows, so does your compassion. You begin seeing others through a deeper lens, not as their behavior, not as their fears, not as their masks, but as souls navigating their own journey from ambition to meaning. You recognize the invisible struggles behind anger, the unspoken wounds behind defensiveness, the longing for connection behind indifference. This awareness softens your judgments and opens your heart. You find yourself responding with understanding rather than reaction, empathy rather than criticism. This compassion extends not only to others but also to yourself. You start embracing your humanity with gentleness. You accept that your journey has been imperfect by design. You stop criticizing yourself for past mistakes and begin honoring the wisdom they brought you. You forgive yourself for moments when ambition clouded your inner truth, recognizing that you needed those moments to awaken to meaning. This self-compassion becomes a powerful healing force, dissolving old patterns of fear and replacing them with a quiet confidence rooted in alignment. Another profound shift occurs in your relationship with desire. In the realm of ambition, desire often stems from emptiness, a feeling that something external is needed to complete you. But in the realm of meaning, desire arises from fullness, a desire to express what is already within you. These desires feel different. They are not frantic or urgent, they feel like gentle invitations. They are not about proving anything, they are about becoming more aligned with who you truly are. And because these desires align with the invisible intelligence guiding you, they manifest with greater ease. They unfold without strain, without struggle, without forcing. You begin living with a sense of inner spaciousness, a sense that you are supported by something beyond the visible world. This support is subtle yet unmistakable. It reveals itself in moments of clarity, in moments of synchronicity, in moments of silence that feel filled with presence. You begin trusting that even when you cannot see the path ahead, the path is still being prepared. And this trust becomes the foundation of your peace. As you deepen your connection to the invisible, you start experiencing moments of profound insight, moments where understanding arrives without thought, where truth reveals itself without effort. These insights feel like remembering something you always knew, but had forgotten. They feel like returning home to a place your soul recognizes. And as these insights integrate into your consciousness, they begin shaping your outer life in ways that reflect your inner awakening. You become more deliberate in your choices, more intentional in your actions, more aligned in your interactions. You no longer operate from impulse or reactivity, but from clarity and presence. This clarity brings a sense of direction that does not depend on external validation. You move through life with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are guided by something far wiser than the thinking mind. Your relationship with the past also transforms. Instead of carrying it like a weight, you begin viewing it as a sacred teacher. Every experience, every disappointment, every success, every loss becomes part of a larger narrative, a narrative that has been guiding you toward meaning from the beginning. You see how each chapter played a role in your awakening? How each moment prepared you for the next? How even the experiences that once felt painful contributed to your growth? This perspective brings deep gratitude, a gratitude that transcends circumstances and arises from your connection to the invisible. And through all of this, a subtle but powerful realization emerges. You are not merely living life. You are co-creating with the invisible. Your thoughts, your intentions, your inner state shape your experience. Your openness to guidance shapes your path. Your willingness to trust shapes your destiny. You begin to understand that the invisible and the visible are not separate realms but two sides of the same truth. The invisible is the cause, the visible is the effect. The invisible is the seed, the visible is the fruit. And you are the bridge between the two. In the end, the journey from ambition to meaning is not about abandoning the world, but about seeing it through new eyes. It is about awakening to the truth that the greatest part of you is invisible, an essence that cannot be measured, compared, or confined, yet quietly guides every breath you take. When you begin trusting this invisible presence, life stops feeling like a struggle and becomes a collaboration with something infinitely wise. You realize that nothing you have ever sought outside yourself can compare to the peace that arises when you align with the truth within. You become a living expression of meaning, moving with intention, speaking with clarity, loving with depth, and walking through life with a certainty that does not depend on circumstances. And as you honor this deeper calling, you discover that the invisible force guiding you has been waiting patiently for you to notice it, to trust it, and to allow it to lead you. From that moment forward, your life becomes not a race to win, but a journey to remember who you truly are. An infinite being temporarily experiencing the visible world, yet forever rooted in the invisible realm of meaning.